bibliophiles of the internet. My name is Adriana and today I'm here to bring you the Jane Austen Book Tag. You heard correctly, the Jane Austen Book Tag. How rad is that? Jane Austen is my homegirl. This tag was created by Thoughts from Nowhere and I saw it on Sam's channel, which is Novels and Nonsense, so I will link both of those videos down below, so be sure to give them a look-see. Basically, this tag consists of 6 different prompts, each one pertaining to a different Jane Austen novel, so let's get started. First up is Sense and Sensibility, a book with a dynamic sibling relationship. The obvious answer for this one is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. While a fair portion of this book is focused on romantic love, I think even more so it's really about familial love, and specifically the love between these two siblings, Noah and Jude. First of all, they're twins, so there's that extra connection between them, but they're also in a huge fight with one another and not speaking to each other when this story begins. And Noah is telling the story from the past, and Jude is telling the story from the present. And that really gives you a huge scope of their relationship as twins and as brother and sister. And it's just insane. This is just a really long-winded way for me to say, please read this book if you haven't already. Next up is Pride and Prejudice, a book that did not seem interesting at first, but after you began reading it, you found it very enjoyable. For this one, I chose Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. So obviously this is one of Murakami's more widely known novels. I think he's known for this novel above any of his other work, so I knew that it had to be good going into it. But when you read the synopsis, it seems kind of dull because it just describes a guy who hears the Beatles song Norwegian Wood and then is reminded of his first love and is just kind of going back into his memories and sort of reliving his experiences with her. So when you read that synopsis, you're like, it's just a dude who's remembering his first love and that's it. But when you start reading it, it's so much more than that. Next up is Emma, a book in which 2 close friends fall in love. You damn well know I had to go with the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I'm not going to beat around the bush because it's not a spoiler in any way. Obviously in this book, Achilles and Patroclus fall in love, and it's like the most important thing that's ever happened to me and I just want to die. Next up is Mansfield Park, and this one is a book that has a rags to riches storyline. For this one, I absolutely had to go with the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Obviously in the Sorcerer's Stone we have a rags to riches kind of storyline with Harry Potter himself because he's been living with his aunt and uncle in really horrible conditions and he believes that he has nothing, and then when he learns he's a wizard, he learns that he's like the most famous wizard ever and that his parents left him so much money, all of the money. But I'm holding up the 4th book because of what happens after the Tri-Wizard tournament is over and what happens with the Weasley twins, because I feel like that's definitely more of a literal rags to riches storyline. I don't want to say too much about that because I never know who's read Harry Potter and who hasn't and when it's safe to just say spoilers. But if you've read the series, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly the scene I'm talking about, and that was a beautiful moment. Next up is Persuasion, a book that involves second chances. For me, this was another no-brainer, and that is Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. I can't actually explain too much about the situation in this book to which I am referring because I don't want to risk spoiling anyone for the first book, but needless to say, there is a character in Days of Blood and Starlight who has massively screwed up, and in the first book has done something horrible, unimaginable, and totally unforgivable. And in this book, they are looking for a second chance in order to redeem themselves for that poor decision. This is like the ultimate example of a search for a second chance that I can think of. And finally, we have Northanger Abbey, a book with an almost overly imaginative character. For this one, I chose Mia Thermopolis from the Princess Diaries series by Meg Cabot. For those of you who have not read the books and don't know, Mia Thermopolis is possibly the most neurotic character in the history of the world. She will freak out to the nth degree about every tiny minuscule thing in her life, and she just lets her imagination run rampant, and she will think of the worst possible scenarios for every little thing in her life. Also, she's very easily influenced by pop culture, so like the Lifetime movies that she watches, the TV shows she watches, the music she listens to, the books that she reads, etc., etc. And just in general, she suffers from information overload. She has way too much information for her own sanity. And that, my friends, is the Jane Austen book tag. As for people I want to tag, I'm going to do this differently and say that I tag everyone who has read Persuasion by Jane Austen. So if you have read Persuasion by Jane Austen, or you just really love Jane Austen, then consider yourself tagged by me. But that is everything I had for this book tag today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will catch you on the flip side of the page. Bye! I can't really explain too much about the situation to which I am referring. They're vacuuming while I'm filming.